Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Libby, and we have Francis in the background, who is the deep trance channeler to Mercredan. He will be joining us in a moment. He's just getting himself into a trance-like state to bring Mercredan through to talk to us today. And today we will be talking to Mercredan about the total eclipse and the significance of this eclipse and others. So if you enjoy the session, please like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to keep updated, and let us know any topics you'd like to see in the future by writing them in the comments, or any questions that you'd like to hear today if you're joining us live. But without further ado, let's cross over to Francis and see what Mercredan has to say for us today. Over to you, Francis.
Timing is everything. Once again, it is my privilege and pleasure to come and spend these few moments of your time. Isn't the physical nature of planet Earth spectacular? So let us begin by looking at the solar field of influence, and to remember that the visual field is minuscule in the whole of that field. Enough to begin a conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us today. As you know, today we would like to talk to you about the solar eclipse, particularly today parts of Central and North America experience the total eclipse. Can you talk to us about as to why today's eclipse is so significant?
Planet Earth is a specific location in the totality of the universe. And that is why such phenomenon are so significant. So shall we say, from planet Earth, as you watch this event, it is easy to forget that it is a minimal event within the solar field of influence, because that engages all of the planets within its system. And such other locations do not experience such an event, because it is a specific portion of consciousness. So shall we say the solar field is significant because it is, shall we say, presenting information. The information is the pulsing of natural phenomenon as it affects the nature, shall we say, of the Planetary Guardian. So shall we suggest then that the field of influence such events show is to affect the fields that surround planet Earth, and within the fields that of the Planetary Guardian, how consciousness is distributed. So shall we say there is a marked set of circumstances that shine, or in this case, do not shine on a certain field that paces out across your living conditions. Enough to begin.
Thank you. You just mentioned that the effect of the field around planet Earth, and you mentioned it, how consciousness is distributed. Can you talk more on that to us?
Consciousness avails itself within the fields of influence. That is, shall we say, the planetary field, the national fields, the social fields, the community, that is city fields, and so on. So it is important to recognize when, shall we say, one's day is brought into night, because planet Earth is transitioning through a natural expansion in consciousness, which requires, shall we say, a new day to appear. So across your nation of influence, that is, within the fields around it, this particular location, that is, this national, has a greater, shall we say, a field of influence that has to be transformed. One light of day must be transitioned into the second light of day. And that is the significance of this particular phenomenon. I want to point out that because of the fields of influence of the solar field, this alignment brings the Earth closer to its neighbors than is happened in many hundreds of thousands of years in local time.
Can you talk to us more about that? Which neighbours are you speaking of? And
shall we say there are the within the field of influence, that is the solar field, all of the planets play a significant part. Planet Earth is not transitioning in any sort of circular, as you often consider, but it is pulsing in and out towards its natural center. That is the solar disk, as it is, that is, shall we say, the light of the heavens draws it in and lets it move away. This is part of the natural pulsing of life. So everything is pulsing toward the spiritual center and away from it. There is, shall we say, everything in the universe shows the natural qualities. That is, all of the laws are played out in time and in space. That is, then shall we say, as I pointed out, beyond the three universal laws, the law of paradox, the law of polarity, the law of magnetism, comes space and time, shall we say, and the law of definitions. Nothing exists until it is defined in its quality of separateness. You understand? If you are walking through the forest, it is just forest, but as soon as you focus your attention and define a single tree, the tree becomes all, and the forest recedes into a background. Does this shine light?
It does, thank you. You mentioned that planet Earth isn't circling as we thought, it's pulsing. So has science got it wrong, or is this in alignment?
Science, as it stands, has everything in terms of the physicality. But, and also, I want to point out, and also it understands that the science affects everything within the field of influence. So while this event is occurring, science all over your planet is measuring the effect it has on the birds and the bees and the plants and everything else in it. It has yet, of course, to make sense of the effect on human psychology. It already knows it affects it, but it has yet to define that in terms that can be related. In other words, everything affects everything else.
Interesting, thank you. So throughout history, solar eclipses have been viewed by many cultures as powerful omens. They are signaling profound shifts and unveiling hidden truths. They
That
also
is correct. You
Carry on.
understand, I am saying the event shows the ending of a particular cycle and the beginning of another. When it is total in such event, then the old is no longer valid, and the new is to be explored. But not everyone experiences that. So in some places, the old is kept in place. Portions of it.
So is in that term, is it location specific? So those that are witnessing the total eclipse today are from Mexico to Canada. And are they the ones that are experiencing the old and then the new significance of today?
You understand, as I point out, such events are within the fields of influence. And so it is, if you track your pathway, it is within the framework of the great national, or should I say international field of influence. The old has to be released. That is not to say destroyed, because when you destroy something, nothing is left of it. But when you transform something, you learn from its history so that a new pathway can be opened up. So it is, shall we say, a significant event for humanity within the field of the Planetary Guardian. In other words, shall we say, those that are embodied in physicality, because, of course, there are sentient others, shall we say, within different frameworks of experience. The most important thing to realize is what one is focused within. In other words, a physical body in space and time has to be within the focus of attention. If one takes away one's focus of attention, imagination opens up in numerous locations in different paradigms. That is to say, they exist as solidly as your own, but not within this point of focus. That is a whole new and different conversation.
Thank you. So the scientific community have labelled, I think it's just over a year, Helio big year from October last year until December this year. And it's interesting that there are some significant eclipses then, as you've talked to us about the significance of 2024. Obviously, this is no accident. You're talking about this is letting go of the old and bringing in the new.
Shall we say everything is at its critical point because for change to occur in the natural period of events within human consciousness, most often a crisis is required. So you are sitting on the edge of a critical time in humanity's awareness. If, shall we say, if an old mechanism continues, then of course the evidence of that and the events that follow will continue in the old framework, and you must then meet yourselves with that outcome. You understand? You have had wars upon wars upon wars, and another war with modern technology can never be predicted. You understand? It cannot, because, shall we say, time is stopping. Whether it is, shall we say, because of dramatic events or because human consciousness awakens. You understand? Here is an example. You are asleep, you are dreaming. As soon as you wake up, the time in the dream world ceases.
Interesting. Thank
Or
you.
shall I say, one's connection, that is one's focus within the field of that universe ceases to hold attention. This leads, of course, to the fundamental patterns. Attention creates definition, creates realities of experience. And that is why the human condition is focused in a small band of the whole. One's visual field is extremely limited. One's auditory field is also limited. One's sensational world is limited. But the whole is beyond conception with such a limited ability to interact. So the interactions then occur at far deeper levels of experience. And science is struggling to find physical devices to measure those elements that are beyond its nature. In other words, you cannot measure with physical instruments those mechanisms beyond it. And so humankind are looking for the beginning with limited materials. And so it is always attempting to crush evidence into a understandable and believable storyline.
Nice. Your last statement, when you talked about attention leading to definition, which then leads to realities, and you talked a lot about focus, are you telling us, or is it important for us to be really careful about what we do focus on?
Of course, if you focus on sickness, you will become, you will look for signs, signals. Oh, is this a spot? Is this a lump? Is this feeling out of alignment? Is this food good for me? Is that what is causing my upsets? Am I a problem? And so on it goes, always looking for such things. If one focuses on living, if one gets up in the morning and looks out at the beauty one is surrounded by, you will carry that all through your day. You will carry it because it is, shall we say, feeding the very cells in your system. That is because the idea of enlightenment, that is losing the heaviness of the drudgery and trudgery of your abilities to manifest life.
Nice. Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to add for us today?
As always, whenever we hold conversations, we are touching, shall we say, a tiny speck within the whole. So every statement opens up 100 questions. Do you understand? And yet, if you put your attention on that particular statement and you hold it there, that is, you put aside all the other thoughts, the questions become clearer and clearer and clearer. And one feels more at one with yourself, with your position, that is your location in time and space. You are more at home with the Planetary Guardian. And the Planetary Guardian is at home with its solar parent. Enough for today.
Thank you so much,
Once
Mercredan.
again, thank you for your time. It is, of course, so valuable, and that is, shall we say, a personal one, and for all the others who consider our discussions. Thank you, and goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mercredan, for being with us again today. And thank you, Francis, for sharing your amazing gift. And thank you all for joining us today, if you're still with us. If you enjoyed today's session, please like our video. It really helps us get more content out there, and make sure you subscribe if you would like to see what's coming in the future. I have so many more questions after that session about the Planetary Guardian, about science, about focus, about everything. If you've got any questions yourself or topics you'd like to share, chuck them in the comments section. We are very open to suggestions. Delane will be here with Mercredan in 3 days' time, talking about how consciousness first started in their session with evolution and consciousness. Sounds very interesting. That's Friday morning our time, which is the same time as is today. Generally, it's Thursday afternoon in lots of other places in the world. All you have to do is click on the actual scheduled live stream, and you'll be able to see your time zone. In the meantime, thanks so much for joining us, and bye for now.